When I was growing up playing video games, there weren't a ton of open world games. The GameCube and the PlayStation 2 that I primarily played games on as a kid didn't really lend themselves to this type of game. Sure, we had things like Grand Theft Auto, Spider-Man 2, and a plethora of street racing games, but these were not really the main focus of games in those days. As time went on and we saw the release of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, there were far more open world games being made. Things like Grand Theft Auto 4, Assassin's Creed, Saints Row, Red Dead, Fallout, Skyrim, Far Cry, Sleeping Dogs, Minecraft, No Man's Sky, Metal Gear 5, Prototype, Watch Dogs, and, well, you get the point. Open world games have gotten to a point where games that weren't open world before have tried to get into the open world genre, with things like Final Fantasy 15, and most recently, The Witcher 3. That's not even most recent. Why did I write that in the script? It's the opposite where The Witcher... okay. Although The Witcher 1 and 2 weren't linear games, they weren't open world either. They were hub-based RPG games, giving you a small area to do various quests in before moving on to the next area to do more quests and then progress the story. It's a very linear system with open areas in each stage of the game. In this day, you'll be hard-pressed to see a new game revealed and have it not be an open world game. It's the way gaming has generally been going over the past few years. And with that said, where do we go next? What's the next big leap for video games? Well, with the release of The Witcher 3, bringing the RPG formula to the spotlight and transforming it into something brand new and refreshing, it seems there are more and more games attempting this formula of open world game. We've always had things like Elder Scrolls using a similar formula, but now we have games like Mass Effect Andromeda, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and soon to be released Assassin's Creed Origins. These games are trying to use the same formula of open world which The Witcher 3 so famously pioneered, having a large open world with plenty of NPCs and hundreds upon hundreds of side activities with their own individual stories, not to mention the countless dungeons, monster nests, races, fight clubs, and Gwent tournaments. It makes the open world feel alive, and it becomes something more than an open world game. It's this blend of typical action-adventure open world storytelling with classic role-playing structure. This is something which, like I said, Horizon Zero Dawn and Assassin's Creed Origins have attempted to replicate. But this begs the question, with games like these, what happens to the standard open world games of yesteryear? Well, we've seen games recently released such as Watch Dogs 2, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and The Division. These games all have two things in common. One, they're Ubisoft games, and two, they're not very good. When we have games such as The Witcher 3, you can't suddenly go to something like Watch Dogs 2, released a year after The Witcher 3, and have a good time. It doesn't live up to it at all, and it doesn't even try to. Watch Dogs 2 wasn't an attempt at The Witcher 3 style formula of open world, but still people will compare it to The Witcher 3 and say it's just not good enough. And I think this is the problem. With plenty of companies now switching their open world games to open world RPGs, it really leaves much to be desired of casual open world action games. It seems this is the time where gaming is moving on, moving forward. We're moving past having empty open worlds in which we do countless missions which have no point besides shooting enemies, to games where each side quest and character you meet has a story to tell and an adventure to give. To answer my previous question, are RPGs the future of open world games? RPGs aren't necessarily the future of open world games, but if you want to survive in the gaming climate that demands such experiences as The Witcher 3, you better be ready to adapt. Action, adventure, open world games are still going to be released, but I think for a lot of gamers, these just aren't going to cut it. Especially when there are so many developers out there doing so much more. The Witcher 3 was a game changer. It paved the way for many more games like it to come in the future. This isn't a bad thing. Having your goal for standard of game being The Witcher 3 isn't bad. It doesn't mean you're copying. Unless you're Anthem, then you're definitely fucking copying. It just means companies have seen how the industry is changing in terms of open world games and changing what they make to suit customers' demand. And I'm certainly not complaining. Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild prove this can be done without being straight copy and paste of The Witcher 3. So roll on to Assassin's Creed Origins and any others that attempt this structure of game. I'm eager to see what the future holds for open world RPGs. Thank you guys for joining me. I really enjoy putting these videos together. If you want to support me, you can click that like button and that subscribe button to stay up to date, as well as clicking on that little bell. I'm trying to do a lot more of these, so I appreciate your support. If you want to go a step further, you can check out the top link in the description and head over to my Patreon page to support me there. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you next time.